Are you in the market to purchase some real estate, be that a buy-to-let property or one for you to, move into yourself, but you're just not sure where to get started, where to look, what properties are, the right price? Am I overpaying for this, or am I paying the right amount? Then this video is for you. In this video, I will equip you with all the tools that you require to get yourself on the way and onto the ladder. What's going on? This video is part of my series on how to buy a house, and in this video I'll cover how to choose the right house, how to go around finding the right house. And let's get straight in, because this video is going to be slightly longer than the rest. And to start off with, it's about using the right portals, the right sites, the likes of Zoopla, Rightmove, who's the daddy of it all. Then we've got sites like On The Market to get you started. The days of peering into your local estate agent's window to find the right houses are long gone. Right, there's a multitude of websites, but just remember when you're looking on these websites like Zoopla, like Rightmove, that the price that's listed there is what the seller wants, not exactly what you'll get. So some sellers have an optimistic view of how much their property could earn, but it's not usually realistic. Use these websites I mentioned like Rightmove, Zoopla and On The Market to have a look. Spend some time over a month to understand the market. What kind of prices are they're usually getting listed at? Is there a steady supply of that sort of house you're looking for? If that's a 3-bedroom, is there a steady supply of it, or is there far and few in between? Do they stay on the market for long, or they're snapped up quickly? These are sort of stuff that you want to be looking out for, because if they get snapped up quickly, there's clearly a demand, and you will have to move fast. Right. Secondly, aside from using the portals, which is obviously all the stuff that's on the market, you want to talk to estate agents, right there. And if you get pally with the estate agents, become mates, and maybe take them out for a drink or a coffee after reviewing for a property that you've looked at, and sort of let them know what you're looking for, they usually get the deal before it's put on the market. So say a seller comes along and says they've got this 3-bedroom and that's exactly what you're looking for, and they've given it to the estate agent that you're friends with now pretty much, because you've sort of built a relationship there. Now the first person he's going to do, before spending time writing the ad out, putting it on Rightmove, he's going to just call you up and be like, mate, this is what's there, are you interested? You go and view it, you're one of the first people to see it. You can snatch that up before it's even gone to open market. Besides that, it's good to know agents, because you get the idea of the kind of demand, rather than sitting on Rightmove and seeing stuff get snapped up. They can let you know, look, there's a lot of people looking for this sort of houses, so you need to move fast. And you also want to let them know that you've got the agreement in principle that we've talked about in my previous video. I'll put the link here, about talking to mortgage brokers, and just let them know that you're serious. So if you're a cash buyer, then let them know you've got proof of funds. That way they know that you're serious, and that kind of helps build that relationship of a real professional relationship that you guys can sort of help each other out. Thirdly, I want to go back to the point of sellers expecting too much for their properties, right? So there's a good feature that I don't think a lot of people actually use, and it's on Rightmove. I'm sure it's on Zoopla as well. Just search sold prices Rightmove, and then it'll come up to a page. Just put the postcode that you're looking at, and within a certain area you can sort of filter it down into houses or flats, or exactly what kind of property it is, and then it kind of lets you know the sold prices in that area. So if you see that you're looking at this 3-bed and it's going for, the guide price is 600, and you're looking at sold prices and they're looking around 450 and better spec, maybe more space, that's just an unrealistic offer. Unrealistic expectation from the seller. But nonetheless, I think it's worth putting an offer in, because once the seller realizes that he's just way off the mark, they will revisit all the offers that they might have said no to, which could have been you, that you put an offer in at 450. Even if it's uncomfortable for you to go in that low, it's just what the market is. And I personally think you should, when you go in with the offer, you should kind of feel uncomfortable with it, because if you're comfortable with it, you're not negotiating good enough, because there's always some room there. The seller always wants more than he should be getting. When you're looking at a house, one thing that people sort of forget, and it's easy, especially when you're looking at these portals and you're looking at the outside of the house, looking at the inside of the house, is looking beautiful, it's exactly what you're looking for. You forget about checking out the neighborhood, because you're just so around what your what you're seeing and where you're going to be living, right? And you don't check out the neighborhood, where the nearest station is, or the shops are. These are very important because you can always do up a house, but you can't really move a house elsewhere. If it's quite a rough neighborhood, or you go around there and it's not there's no school nearby if you've got a family, or if you're working in London and you don't know, there's no train station with a direct link. These are sort of the things that you want to think about. That's probably obvious, but it's just something you don't want to get too wrapped up in initially. And checking out the area, just going to drive and checking out the area prior to getting too excited just because it's in a certain area. There are certain parts of the area you may not want to be in. And on the other end, if you're buying a buy to let, then I guess the neighborhood isn't as much of an issue, because I think when it's buy to let, you let go of all the emotions, right? You let the numbers dictate what you're gonna buy. So have a look at the demand, what rental demand there is. Talk to letting agents, let them find out if there's a demand, because you want to sort of buy that and get a renter straight away, right? So that's very important. Look at demand as a buy-to-let investor. Fifth thing that I also do, and it's very helpful, especially when you're actively looking, is setting up alerts on the likes of Zoopla and Rightmove for the sort of property that you're looking for, right? Because the minute something's added, or the minute something drops in price, it's updated and it sends you out an email. So if there's a certain property that keeps getting reduced, then wait, they're trying to get rid of it, but there just isn't enough demand. So you can go in with a low ball offer. When there's something new, and especially like I said before, where there's a lot of demand and stuff gets snapped up quickly, you need to get that alert so you can book that viewing, and straight away go in, view it, and put an offer. If you're happy with it, put an offer down as soon as you can. Like I've probably mentioned before, speed is very crucial in this game, especially when you're buying in high demand areas. Right, when we go to this viewing though, there's a number of things you want to ask the seller, find out what the property has, if there's any renovations. Key things also to find out is the number of viewings he's kind of doing for the property. Kind of gauge the demand yourself. If he's had multiple offers, how many people you're going to be competing with. I wrote down a couple of things. Be friendly with the seller, because sometimes if you've lived in a house for so long and you kind of build an attachment with the house and you kind of want it to go to a good family. So if you're quite friendly, you kind of build a relationship there with the seller, they're more likely to choose you if the offers it's similar. I know the numbers always speak the most, and the bigger offer usually wins, but it's just something to push you across the edge. If say 5,000 there, he might choose to choose you because you're a nicer person. While you're doing the viewing, maybe simple, but take pictures, take videos, because I know when you're all over it and you're trying to view as many properties as you can, they all kind of turn into a blur, and then you can't differentiate which house is which one, and you kind of get muddled up. So it's good to take some pictures of each viewing, so you can keep them, flick through them, remind yourself. We can get really busy and forget to do that. Another thing to look out for when you're on the viewing, and this is to save you quite a lot of money, because once the surveyor's out, he's going to find out these things, and then you paid for the surveyor, which gets a bit tedious. So just a couple of things to look out for yourself, so it gives you a little alarm bell. Is stuff like damp, mold, cracks. It could be linked to anything. If we know where the damp is coming from, is an easy fix. But usually when you're looking to buy a house that's straight to you just want to rent it out, or you just try and live in it, you don't want to deal with these issues, right? A couple other things, switch all the lights on and off, just check electricity is working, power points, flush in the toilet, the tap, just make sure all the plumbing's working right. Also, you want to check cracks on the outside. Not a lot of people look at the outside of the house. We look at a general picture of the outside, and then we go in and look at the perfect and nitpick inside. But the outside is important. Look for cracks. I have had this issue myself on a property we're just currently renovating. Didn't look into it. The door, for example, if you're trying to get into the house and the door's not really moving, there might be an issue with subsidence because the house is sinking. We had that issue on the property I'm currently doing. Completely missed it, because we didn't get the survey out till later, and it kind of bit us on our backside, and now we're kind of eating into our profits to sort that problem out, do some underpinning. It gets all tedious. So cracks on the outside, stiff doors, there could be an issue with. because the house is sinking, the door's getting stuck, in between the floor and the top. So it's a couple of things to look out for, which are kind of important. I'm just going into that more because obviously we've just had that issue. Not to scare you guys, there's a lot of these things can be sorted out quite easily, but just to keep an eye out, and then once you get the surveyor, always get a surveyor out. Surveyors are your best friend, they can save you a fortune. Next, while you're on the viewing, you might as well go to both sides, talk to the neighbors, find out if there's any, if there's a situation going on, or if there's something weird going on. It's just good to, just build, rapport with these guys as well, if you might be moving in there as well later on, right? That's pretty much a lot of the video, guys. There's a couple things I would say to look out for if you're buying a leasehold property, flat, or a house. In the north there's like strips of roads where it's completely leasehold because it's one freeholder. It's good to know the lease length, because you don't want to be looking at houses under 70 that have less than 70 years lease. Not only are you not able to mortgage them, you're just going to have to fork out a lot more money to renew that freehold if you're going to be living there for X amount of time. And if it's less than 70 years, say you're buying it at 80 but you live there for 10 years, now you're going to struggle to sell it unless that freehold is extended, because it's going to be unmortgageable. So a couple of things to look out for with leasehold properties. Couple other things on these websites, right, that I mentioned before, checking out, going onto the most recent and then going to the last page shows you the properties that have been on the market for the longest. So these guys are probably going to have a lot more, wiggle room with their price, rather than someone that's just put it on the market and probably just wants to find out a few offers. So that's one technique that I've learned to find below market value properties, or go in with lower offers that will get accepted, as well as properties that there's a subsection, I know on Rightmove, Zoopla, I think most reduced. Now on most reduced, you're going to be finding properties that are slowly being reduced, and you can check out on the listing history when it was reduced and how many times it's been reduced. This meaning that if a property's getting reduced, every couple of months, these guys are looking to sell ASAP, or they might have a chain, they find a property, they've got a chain, they just want to sell it on, get their new property and move in, right? So there's multiple issues, or there could be, they're defaulting on their, mortgage, whatever it is. These guys are looking to sell, so you can go in again with a lowball offer, uncomfortable, like I said, and probably bag it, so have a look at that. Just remember, guys, keep your emotions in check here, especially when you're buying this for yourself. When it's buy to let, you're looking at numbers, keep it to numbers when it's for yourself. Just remember, there's plenty of fish in the sea, right? Don't overpay just because you fall in love with this one, because you will find another one. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's a lot more to learn. This is part of the video series. Check out the playlist as well as my channel if you want to learn more. But I hope this was helpful and it helps you, equips you with the tools to find the property of your dream.